we're now joined via video link by international relations analyst Professor John Stremlau, just to make sense of the election results in France so far. Prof, are you surprised by the new Popular Front unexpectedly taking, the top spot from the right-wing National Rally, which dominated the first round? I mean, the left-wing alliance secured 188 seats in the National Assembly, according to some official results so far.
Of course, it was a surprise, and unfortunately, I don't think the French are ready for a government of national unity, which they could desperately use right now, because it is very unpredictable, and I do think that there is a risk of a paralysis of the government. But at least the right wing's concern with immigration has been downplayed now with this new arrangement, and also the Le Pen's misgivings about the European Union and going to oppose that. That becomes melting away, because this coalition wants to, or at least the biggest vote getter wants to help the poor and tax the rich, and that's not a bad formula.
It's very interesting that you say government of national unity, because when one looks at this election, I mean, one can't help draw similarities with just how in most countries that have had elections this year, there's so much change. But let's stick with France then. I mean, with the projected results, what are we likely to see over the next few weeks? I mean, now, in the 577 seat National Assembly, some are spelling out a very chaotic and complicated period for the country, saying, it's not possible to govern France if you don't at least have 240 to 250 lawmakers.
Well, it is going to be a divided government for sure, but Macron, in calling this snap election for June 30th, took a big gamble, and it did not appear to be paying off. In fact, quite to the contrary, because the right wing predominated in the first election, scoring 34%, and to the left's 28%, and Macron's party just 21%. So there has been a reversal by the new Popular Front, which now has 178 seats, at least at my reading of the Interior Ministry's latest figures. Macron's centralist party is 150 seats, and Le Pen's is only 142. So it is going to be a difficult challenge, because the new Popular Front is a conglomeration of socialists, Greens, communists, and this new extreme left, France Unbowed. So how you get this reconciled, I think Macron has his challenges in front of him, but he's going to be in power until 2027.
And if we take a step back, after the first round of voting in June, Le Pen's National Rally was very much on course to win for the first time, in its history. I mean, with this current development, I would say their hopes were dashed, although, some are delighting over it, including, of course, Emmanuel Macron's centrist and left-wing alliance. So where to now for the National Rally? I mean, I know there's still some uncertain times ahead.
Well, there are, but of course the uncertainties down here led to the reformist coalition that is now the government of national unity. The left in Britain, a very practical-oriented left, not the left of the old guard, but is on track for a huge majority, and maybe, God willing, Trump will be prevented from taking over in the United States. And so there are signs that reason is prevailing, and reformists are actually winning over traditionalists and ethnic nationalists and the liberals. And so I'm not discouraged as yet, but it is the early innings, as you say, and we are going to face a lot of uncertainty about France's role, but the uncertainty would have been much greater had the right wing prevailed, especially for European Union concerted action, which is very important for South Africa as its major trading partner.
And I mean, just on that front, in terms of just where France is positioned in as far as geopolitics when it comes to South Africa, because we know that country is facing high inflation and immigration issues. What are we likely to see on that front? And what is South Africa hoping to see, in fact, to continue on those relations?
Well, I'll let the South African government speak for themselves. They have a new director of DIRCO and a new minister of DIRCO, and so that can be settled. But the hope is at least that reason is prevailing, and there will be bargaining, which would have been very difficult with the anti-immigration policies of Le Pen's party, and so I see that what we're going to have is a downplaying of the immigration issue and an upplaying of the need for a more equitable France, a more growing France, a more job-creating France, and a taxing of the very rich, which is not bad.
Prof, just as a parting shot, of course, we've seen these elections being dominated by a number of protests, some violent. What are we likely to see on that front? I mean, what do people on the ground in France need or want more than anything?
Well, I believe that they want, but I don't know, but I believe that they want, and I hope that they want stability. And you can't have violence in the streets. So I'm a very hawkish about democracy being a peaceful deliberation, as we've seen down here. And I think that parties that are revisionist or traditionalist or tribalist, illiberal, are a bane on the peaceful development of discourse and civic action that we hope will now prevail in France.
Prof, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. International Relations Analyst, Professor John Stremlau, of course, as we continue to monitor developments across the globe.